98 FM. Dublin Talks. Call 6797 981.
And good morning from Adrian Kennedy. How are you this morning? I hope everything is okay with you today on this, continually strange days. Now, I want to talk to you about continuing to be safe, continuing to keep your safe distance. Well, in fact, I don't want to appeal to you. The family of a woman who died on Sunday after contracting the COVID-19 virus is appealing to you to take care of yourself, to observe social distancing, and just try and stay at home if you possibly can. This is the very first time we have spoken to the family of somebody who has died from this virus. 9 people in the Republic of Ireland have died, and one of those is a lady who is 69 years of age. Her name is Anne O'Rourke, and she sadly died on Sunday evening after contracting coronavirus just a few days previous. And I'm joined on the phone line by her son, Kieran. Now, I spoke to Kieran an hour ago, and the reason I spoke to him an hour ago is because right now, right this very second, in Glasnevin here in Dublin, his mam's funeral is taking place. But he still wanted to talk to us on the radio about his mam, to put a face to her, and to get people to take this virus seriously. Kieran, my first question to him when I spoke to him an hour ago, bearing in mind he is now at his mam's funeral, and he was aware that this interview is going out as his mam's funeral is taking place. And my first question to Kieran was, when did they become aware that his mam had contracted coronavirus?
Only last week. I went up 2 days before and bring her out to go to pictures, and he wouldn't let us out because of the corona, and he said he might be closing it down. So 2 days later, it was closed. And so that's what I'm seeing her. So that's the one I'm going to see her now.
So it was last Thursday that you found out that she had the virus, and your mum had been cared for in the nursing home in Castleknock.
Mentally, yeah.
And how had she been?
She was all right. She was just a bit weary in her words and that, but just she knew everybody. She was grand health. There was neighbours up there a week before that. And that was only up myself. My friend was only up just a few days before that. Everything was just, she was grand. She was just wheelchair bound because she passed all she had 2 years ago. And
her health deteriorated very rapidly after you found out that she contracted the virus. Is that right?
Well, I rang at 5:20 on that Sunday, and they knew she already passed away, and I asked them to ring me back, and they never even rang back. Still to this day, they haven't rang me back. Told me nothing.
So how did you find out that she had passed away?
My father, they rang me, my father. But like, I was the one going up every day, you know, and doing things and that, like, and the manager wouldn't even have the respect to ring me or tell me anything, none. You know, and we still don't know the full answer to everything or nothing. My dad was on a Saturday and told us it was serious, and then on a Sunday then at 6 o'clock, I was on the phone to them at 5:20. Then at 6 o'clock I got a phone call out my sister. She was about to book to go in. She was the only one allowed to go in to see her. And then she just missed her for 10 minutes.
So you weren't allowed to go up and see her to say your final goodbyes?
No. Can't even see her in the coffin. Can't even see her in the coffin.
So that's it. You, in terms of the funeral is on this morning, and that funeral is strictly for family as well.
Yeah. And we can't hire limousines. Can't hire limousines, anything.
What made you, Kieran, and your family decide to speak publicly about your mam? Your mam was 69 years of age. Her name was Anne O'Rourke. What made you decide to speak publicly and put a face to one of the 9 people who have died from this coronavirus in Ireland?
It wasn't the one even mentioned about it, so why wasn't she even mentioned? That's what I'd like to know as well. Plus, there's still people walking around the streets like as if nothing's going on. The government needs to stand up and do something more. That's all I just want to do, is just say help other people. That's what my mother would have liked.
So by identifying her as a person, giving her name, telling us a bit about her. She's originally from Longford, and over recent years had some health issues, but she had been out of the nursing home. You took her out a while ago to the cinema and so on. You decided that by putting a face to your mum, by naming her publicly, by identifying her as one of the victims of this virus, that people might start taking this thing seriously.
Exactly. That's 100% exactly what I'm trying to do. That's all. I don't ask for any money, nothing for anything to go on to this show or any paper, any interview. I just want people to understand how serious this is. That's all. I don't want anyone to go through the pain we've been through. Just me and my sister left in this house. We can't even have a family friend come over to say goodbye, thanks. It's just all over phones.
I know you were very grateful, Kieran, to all of your neighbours and friends around Black Horse Avenue for their support.
Outstanding. She death messages at the gate. And it's just brilliant. Brilliant. I have to say, it's brilliant. They've been outstanding. I have to say, the neighbours really are outstanding. But she was just that good woman, and it's like
just so popular.
It sounds to me, Kieran, that the way in which this happened, the suddenness with which your mum passed away, and the lack of information has left you all absolutely stunned.
Yeah, what's like when did she pick it up? How did she pick it up? Why was me told sound on? How come it was on me whole out of the whole home? And you know, I know, don't mean bad on anyone in the home, Jesus, but by all means, you know, it's just like. But we weren't told anything. We were told on the Saturday, and then that was it. Then Sunday. So we not been told. She had to be in sick or something. Like, you know, she could have told us something.
But all you know is that she passed away on Sunday evening, and she had the COVID-19 virus. Yeah. That's all you've been told.
That's all we were told. We were told she had it on a Saturday, and then she died on the Sunday. And that was never there. I mean, we never see her again.
That is awful. That is really, really sad. Kieran, I admire you for having the courage to speak publicly about your mum's passing at what is a very difficult time for you, and to put a public face onto one of the victims of this virus.
I
think it's very important that people, as we head into another weekend where the sun is going to be shining, that people cop onto themselves, keep their social distance, and stop this virus spreading, and stop more families like yours being hurt in the way in which you're hurting right now.
Yeah, that's exactly where it is. So this is all about.
Kieran, I'm terribly sorry to hear about your mum's passing, and I hope everything goes as well as can go at a private family funeral this morning.
Yeah, I have to let the door. I have to get ready, Adrian, if you don't mind.
That's no problem at all, and I really appreciate you talking to me, and may your mum rest in peace.
Thanks very much, Adrian.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
And that is Kieran, who at this very moment is at his mother's funeral in Glasnevin. The woman's name is Anne O'Rourke. Anne was 69 years of age, a grandmother of 5. And this comes back to the point that we're trying to get across here. And this is what Kieran wants to get across here. This woman was a grandmother of 5 people. We don't know how she contracted the virus, but the fact is she did. And she died on Sunday evening at about 5 o'clock. And this is to get the message through that could be your granny. That could be your granddad. That could be just your loved one. And that we need, and this is why Kieran wanted to speak on the morning of his mother's funeral, to get the message across that we need to take this more seriously. We need to stop gathering in groups. We need to stay at home, and we need to stop the spread of this virus. And there are many, many vulnerable people in our society that we need to protect, and they need to protect themselves. And one of them is an old friend of mine who has been self-isolating for the last 3 weeks because he is living with cancer and has been for a number of years. I'm talking about the lead singer with Aslan, Christy Dignam, who joins me on the line from his home, where he has been for the last 3 weeks. Christy, good morning.
Morning, Adrian. How's it going?
I'm good. How's it going with you?
Good. First of all, I just like to send my condolences to that chap there, and that's very
absolutely sad. It really, really is. And it's the first time I've spoken to a family who are going through this and who have lost somebody dear to them. And it puts the whole thing in context, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. That's what we were trying to do with the few bits of messages and stuff that we were putting out. Because, I was looking at people licking shopping trolleys and stuff like that. And I know when you're young, you're 18, you feel bulletproof, you think nothing's going to kill you. And probably this won't do anything to a lot of those people. But they're going to bring you home to people like that chap's mother, you know. But younger people with respiratory illnesses, with asthma and stuff like that. And this is, I was looking at a statistic, Adrian, right? So, with an ordinary flu, right, you infect 1.3, 1.4 people, if that's possible, right? I know you can't cut a person in half, but that's the statistic, right? So if you go tenfold of that, it brings up to about 40 people. With coronavirus, everybody that has it, do you reckon they infect 3 people? When you go tenfold of that, that's 59,000 people that will infect, you know. And that's how contagious this disease is. It's really, really contagious. And, that chapter I was bringing, as you said, bringing it home, you always think that's not going to happen to me. I never thought I'd get cancer. I always thought cancer was going to happen to other people. It won't happen to me. It does happen to us. And this thing is serious, It's unprecedented. It's serious.
All right, Christy, I'm going to take a very quick ad break. I just want to clear up your phone line because it's very muffled. And I'll come back to you straight after the break because I want to find out how you are and the implications, not just for you, but for people like you, of this virus. So stay with me for 1 second. I'll be back to you straight after the ad break.
No problem.
The sound of the city, from Drumcondra to Dorky. Dublin Talks. 98 FM's Dublin Talks.
And good morning from Adrian Kennedy. Our telephone number is 6797981. We've cleared up the phone line a little bit. I'm in the middle of a conversation with Aslan frontman Christy Dignam, who has been self-isolating for the last 3 weeks because of this coronavirus. And as many of you will know, for the last number of years, Christy has been battling an incurable blood cancer for nearly 7 years. It's hard to believe, actually. And had been travelling regularly to a specialist in London as part of his ongoing treatment. And Christy, one of the big downsides to everything is a downside, but you are meant to be going to London as part of your ongoing treatment. You regularly go to London, to the Royal Free in London, but you won't be able to go over.
No, that's the story. So I give bloods to Beaumont every month. They send the bloods to the Royal Free, and then they'll see what the prognosis is from that. And I'll go over there every couple of months, and they'll tell Beaumont how to treat me. But I can't get over there now to do this. So the whole thing's up in the air. But it's the same for everybody, Adrian. It's not just me.
No, of course. And this is what I wanted to bring into the conversation, that there are many people in this country right now who are living with cancer. Some are going through treatment, some are in remission. But one thing that a lot of cancer sufferers have in common is their lower threshold for dealing with illnesses.
Yeah.
And
you have a compromised immune system,
so for that reason then, you decided 3 weeks ago to stay indoors. I know you haven't seen your grandchildren. You haven't seen pretty much anybody except what you've been doing on social media and so on.
That's it, yeah. You know, it's just this thing, and not only, you know, people don't realise, it doesn't only affect people like me, you know, I'm a bit older and as you said, I have cancer. You could be 15 and have asthma and this could kill you, you know. And that's what a lot of the younger people need to kind of get into their heads, that this is affecting everybody and it can kill anybody because it's killing people that you don't understand. Like there are healthy people going down with this and it's killing them as well. It's not just people who compromise the immune system.
So one of the things that we wanted to do today, when I spoke to Kieran about his mum and her funeral this morning, and by speaking to somebody like you, is to reinforce that message that what we're dealing with here is serious, is killing people. 9 people have died so far, is infecting people. We've over 1,500 people now infected here in Ireland, and we need to take this more seriously.
Absolutely. You know, the thing with any illness, you always think this is not going to happen to me. It's you know, this will happen to somebody else. I never thought I'd get cancer. I always thought, I know other people get cancer. I won't get cancer. I got cancer. And this thing is in everybody's home now, you know, in some shape or form, whether you're infected or not. And it's affecting everybody. And the younger people need to realise, even though it might kill them, it might be only a mild cold to them, they can bring that home to their parents or grandparents or brothers and sisters who may have asthma or some respiratory illness. And, you know, this is lethal. And it's so, you know, it's never happened before. This is totally unprecedented. So we still don't really know what we're dealing with here, you know.
Absolutely. And there's no cure. There's no vaccine for it. That's how serious this is. Christy, how are you coping with being indoors for the last 3 weeks?
Well, Netflix. I'm Netflixing to death. So, I started looking at a thing yesterday, The Tiger King, and I ended up looking at about 8 episodes of it. I was up to about 4 in the morning looking at it. But then I got Airfix model, you know the old Airfix models?
Yes.
Kira got me this old aeroplane thing for Christmas, and it's been sitting on the shelf there for ages. When I got it, I thought, geez, I'll never use that. And I'm fixing that. So it's just anything, you know, just anything to keep the mind. I'm doing a bit of writing, because we are supposed to release a single. We're supposed to release a lot this week, and we've an album and stuff coming. So I was writing some, we're doing a lot of writing and that. So,
all right, so keeping yourself in, and driving Catherine up the wall.
Yeah,
all right, give her my regards, and Christy, stay safe, stay well, and we'll all get through this. We'll all come out the other side of it.
Yeah, and we'll have some party at the end of it.
Absolutely. All right, Christy Dignam, thanks very much indeed for talking to us. Aslan frontman Christy Dignam, who hasn't gone outside his front door for over 3 weeks, and won't be for the foreseeable future, because he would be immunocompromised and at real serious risk should he contract the virus. Anyway, there you go. I just wanted to start today's show with 2 reminders of how serious this is and how we all need to take this much more seriously. And I wish Christy the very best. And I also want to again thank Kieran, who spoke to us about his mum's passing the other day. And as I said, his mum, Anne O'Rourke, from Black Horse Avenue here in Dublin, may she rest in peace. Now, while some of us are trying to deal with this in a serious way, there are others, sadly, that aren't treating this in a serious way. Yesterday on the show, we spoke to a man who witnessed teenagers doing a coronavirus prank in his local supermarket. 2 teenagers walking about threatening shoppers that they would cough on them. Actually, just to remind you, I want to bring you back to yesterday's show. This is what the man described to us on the show yesterday. Patrick, tell me what you witnessed at your local German retailer?
Yeah, so yesterday I was in just picking up a few bits for myself, and these two little tow rags came in with their arms completely stretched out wide, given about a metre stretch, I'd say, threatening that if anybody touched off their fingertips at all, that they were going to cough in their face. I think it was pretty much cough in their face, basically. And one of them was literally like an inch, his finger was an inch from me. I was kind of hoping he would actually touch me because I wanted to hit the little fucker in the face.
Was this in the store?
In the store. They only had one security guard up the top of the store. He wasn't even circulating the store to see what was going on. But, I mean, these lads were shouting this all over the place, and your man didn't give a flying.
You know what, yeah. So hang on, so I just want to get this in my head. So they're walking along, they have their arms outstretched, and they're saying what?
Basically, if anyone touches off their fingers while they're walking, they're going to cough in their face.
God.
And these are, I would say, maybe 15 years of age.
15 years of age, right. How many of them?
Just the two of them.
Just the two of them.
But this isn't the first I've seen. I mean, it's usually quiet enough in this area, but lately, with them being off school, I've been seeing a good few of them around shouting the odds off. We're going to do this, we're going to do that, and blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of getting a bit disgusting now that the parents aren't looking after them.
And this is part of the problem here, in my opinion, that I understand how difficult it must be for parents to say to a 14 or 15-year-old, no, you're not going outside the door. Or for the parent to say, okay, you can go outside the door, but you're only to hang around with one friend, and then they don't do as they're told.
No, absolutely not.
So it seems to me that a simple solution for parents is to introduce some sort of a curfew that makes it illegal for them to be out.
Well, that's what needs to happen, but I mean, is it going to happen is the question.
All right, now that was from yesterday's show, and following yesterday's show, we were contacted through our Facebook page by the partner of a Garda, who in the last 2 days has been spat at, coughed on while trying to break up groups. As you know, we have new laws that are actually going to be, voted in today in Dáil Éireann. New laws that make it basically illegal to congregate in groups of more than 4 people here in the Republic of Ireland. And the Gardaí have the power, as we've seen happening over the last couple of days, the power to break up groups and tell them to go on their way. But when the Gardaí are doing that, they're being threatened with being spat at, coughed at, and actually are being spat at and coughed at. In a couple of minutes, we'll be hearing from Joanne, who sent me this message yesterday. She is terrified about her husband going to work because of all of this. Well, Gardaí are to be issued, should I say, with controversial spit hoods to place over suspects' faces during the coronavirus crisis. The plastic devices, which have been criticised by human rights groups in the UK because they're seen as dangerous and degrading, but the Gardaí here have ordered 16,000 spit hoods, which cover the entire face of the detainee and stops them spitting at, coughing on or biting officers. This is where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. This is how sad things have become with a very, very, very small minority of people. To explain a little bit more about what these spit hoods are and how they operate, I'm joined by the digital news editor for Communicore, which is a company that owns 98 FM, to give an overview of what spit hoods are. Stephen McNeese, welcome to 98 FM.
Hi, thanks, Ian.
Stephen, I have to be honest with you, until maybe yesterday or the day before, I had never even heard of a spit hood, and now we're having this conversation. What are these things?
Yeah, well, I don't think you're probably not alone having not heard of these. So these are, as you explained, they're kind of mesh masks or plastic masks that are put over a detainee's head. And they're designed at preventing the suspect from coughing or spitting at the police officer. Now, these have been introduced in a number of other places, not a number of other countries. They're quite controversial, as you were saying, because obviously, at the best, in normal circumstances, putting what's effectively a mask, a full head mask over someone's head would be quite a, controversial and potentially dangerous thing. But I think these aren't normal circumstances, as you were explaining yourself there.
Now, we have heard the unbelievable story, I have to say, of a healthcare worker in Blanchardstown Hospital who was spat at, who is now in isolation, spat at by somebody who subsequently tested positive for COVID-19. I despair when I hear of people doing stuff like this to our frontline workers, but our frontline workers also include our Gardaí, also include our government, by the way. They could be classed as frontline workers. And people like the Minister for Health, Simon Harris, deliberately coughed at by a man as he was walking to his office.
Yeah, it was actually, Simon Harris yesterday said it was two people who actually came up to him in Dublin city centre as he was walking between government departments, and then ran away laughing their heads off, following after they deliberately coughed on him. So yeah, he unveiled this, and your own show has heard various stories. There are a plethora of reports on social media now. I think the Gardaí is still saying this is a reasonably small number of cases, but they are at the same time pretty horrifying cases.
Okay, but obviously the Gardaí are faced with a situation now where they've to impose the law, and the law states that you cannot congregate in groups of more than 4 people in a public place, and the Gardaí obviously have the power to break up groups of people, as we saw in a park on the north side the day before yesterday. But the risk for the Gardaí, and in fact I'm going to be reading a message that we got from a lady called Joanne in a second, the risk to the Gardaí is this disgusting thing of being spat at or coughed at by somebody who you don't know whether that person has the virus or not.
Yes, and I think the Gardaí now today said that they're looking at various other types of personal protective equipment. You've probably heard of the so-called PPEs, which health workers are also kind of desperately looking for. Now, there's a big shipment of them on the way from China in the next few days for health workers, but I think guards are looking at other ways to protect their own, to protect individual Gardaí. And I think these spit hoods are just one of the ones that's going to come into force. The spit hoods are already used by the prison service here, and as I said, different police services. So that's just one of the measures.
Okay, so the bottom line is that if the Gardaí are in a situation where they're trying to break up a gathering and somebody becomes threatening towards them or makes a threat of spitting at them or coughing on them or whatever, the Gardaí will be able to put one of these things over their head, and they're called spit hoods, so they won't be able to spit or cough at them.
Yes, that's it, precisely. Now, I think the rules, again, about using these are not going to be fairly strict, as you can imagine. Shoving a big mask on someone's head is not an easy thing to do, or it's a pretty drastic measure, but I think they've just been there. They're now being given to Gardaí, thousands of them being ordered in, and they will be issued to Gardaí shortly. Okay, now I know in the UK some human rights groups have described using these devices as dangerous and degrading, but we're in a different time now, aren't we? Exactly, yeah. I think, everything has changed in the last couple of weeks. All kinds of precedents have been broken and all this kind of things, and I think this whole spit hood business and even the so-called coronavirus challenge are pretty out of the ordinary events. So now the Gardaí has specifically said that these hoods will only be there on a temporary basis. So I think it's just a kind of a measure while this is ongoing to try and cut down on any risk to any individual Gardaí.
All right. Desperate times call for desperate measures, as they say. Stephen McNeese, digital news editor for Communicore, thank you very much indeed for joining us. And one thing that Stephen did mention, and I want to give a mention to the company and the staff at Aer Lingus and the amazing offer that the company and the staff, more importantly actually, to fly their biggest planes. I think they're the Airbus 330, is that what they are? The big, huge ones. And fly them over to China and pack the planes with all of the protective equipment that we need and bring it back to Ireland. So that's the pilots and the staff who are going to be manning the plane, filling all the plane with all of the protective gear and bringing it back here to Ireland. It was an incredible offer by the company, but even more importantly by the staff. I know a couple of people who are going to be on those flights who are going to be going to China, filling up the plane. The pilots don't ever leave the plane and they come straight back to Ireland in a round trip that will take, I should imagine, about 20 hours of a round trip to China. So well done to Aer Lingus. It's a fantastic offer. And it just shows you that even though it's a company that is owned by a conglomerate now, it still has its roots here in Ireland. I'm very proud to mention that. Now, I want to come back to these spit hoods. And I want to read a message that I got from a lady called Joanne. Here's what Joanne said. I was just listening to your show about those teenagers in the shop, and that was the clip I played a couple of minutes ago, and this was on yesterday's programme. My partner is a guard, and I'm worried sick about him catching it. In the last 2 days, he's been spat on by shoplifters he was arresting. Groups of teenagers have also coughed on him when he approached them to break up their group. We have an 8-month-old baby at home, and I'm terrified every day that he'll catch it and bring it home to our baby. Can you please tell the public to have respect for the emergency services? I haven't been able to sleep the last 3 weeks with worry. And that is from a lady called Joanne. And I'd like to hear from you. What do you think should be the penalty, the punishment, for somebody who attacks a frontline worker like a guard or the healthcare worker in Blanchardstown who's now had to be isolated, who's now had to no longer work in the front line because some decided to spit at her. And that person is now being confirmed, a confirmed case of COVID-19. It just beggars belief. So what should be done to people who do this? Our telephone number is 6797 981. You can text, WhatsApp or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. Have you witnessed anything like this? If so, tell me what you've witnessed. Describe it to me. Like that man did yesterday. The guy's walking through the supermarket with their arms outstretched, threatening that if people touch off their fingers, they will cough on them or spit on them. It's unbelievable. Andreas, you're on 98 FM. How are you?
Good morning, Adrian. How are you?
It is shocking that we're even having this conversation about our Garda Síochána being issued with 16,000 spit hoods, which I'd never, ever heard of before today. What do you make of this?
It kind of boils back down to scum being raised by scum, hasn't it, really? Listening
to Simon Harris yesterday describe the people who came near him, they didn't sound like scum, as you would put it. These people were in their 30s or 40s.
Exactly, and they're probably raising the little scum they're going around spitting at other people. It's the same thing.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
You've been watching that program Inside the K. That's what you're dealing with. That's the kind of stupidity and little scumbags. These little scumbags have already turned their house in the States into zoos as opposed to house in the States. So you expect them to listen to a curfew, or you expect them to have the intellectual capacity to understand that if they stay out any longer, we'll have to stay isolated longer because of them. This is the stupidity you're dealing with.
Okay, well, let me ask you. We're talking about the Gardaí being issued with spit hoods. So if they're breaking up a group and they either start spitting at them or threaten to spit at them or cough on them or whatever, the guards can put one of these yokes over their head and that'll stop them. It does seem very draconian, but necessary, is it?
It's sad that it's necessary, though, isn't it, really?
It is sad, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, very sad. To be honest with you, I've seen this video that went viral, this young American idiot licking deodorant cans in a supermarket. Now, apparently he's after being arrested under terror offences, which is probably what we should be looking at as well. So, if they're willing to spit at people, technically it's premeditated. It is attempted murder. It's not manslaughter. If you spit at somebody with the sole intention of passing on the virus to them, that's attempted murder. Full stop.
Now, you may spit at somebody and not have the virus, but it's the mere threat. So what would you like to... If you were a legislator and one of these guys gets arrested and gets brought to court, what do you want to see them being charged with? Attempted murder?
Absolutely. Why not? How do they know they don't have the virus? The threat is that they do have the virus.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're putting people into isolation, so grab them and put them into 14 or 20-day prison isolation, full stop.
And charge them with attempted murder.
Yeah, can I just say something? We've watched this virus move from China all across Europe.
Mm-hmm.
I have 4 children, Adrian. I'm looking at 4-bedroom door closed. They've been there since last week and a half. What's the point in some of us doing this if the rest of the parents couldn't give a flying one of them?
I've been saying that since this crisis broke out, that it is so unfair on society that 90+% of us are taking it seriously, are doing what we've been asked to do, are keeping our distance, are washing our hands, and all of that. And then a small minority of people give the 2 fingers to the whole country.
Absolutely. Sure, look, again, just refer, I know I should probably go off subject a little bit. Referring back to that inside the K, and before people get on the bandwagon, I'm not saying it's just Blanchardstown, Cabra and Finglas. There was an incident last night where 2 10-year-old kids at night time were smashing windows with arm bars. 2 10-year-old kids at night time hanging around shops by themselves. Now, if the parents don't give a flying one of them about them, what's the... There are absolutely no chance whatsoever.
Okay, so you would like to see a really serious public example being made of somebody who either actually does spit at a Garda or a nurse or a government minister. We need to make a public example of these people.
Absolutely. It is unique times and unique measures are going to have to be carried out. I'm not being funny and I don't want to refer to any other country. Spit at a guard or a cop or a policeman in Russia.
You know all about it.
In America.
Yep.
Spit at one in China. See what happens.
Okay, so we need to the law and the police service to get tough on this one.
Absolutely. And if you know what, maybe the parents should be looked at as well. If a child or a group of children are running around in the evening times, 30, 40-fold, these little hoodies, these little wannabe gangsters, the parents should be addressed as well, because the parents obviously don't have the intellectual capacity to understand that these kids are probably spreading it between themselves and bringing it home as well.
And I keep saying, no matter how much of a toe rag you are, okay, and this comment is directed at little toe rags, they all have a granny. And even though they might be little, you-know-what's out on the street, they're little angels when they're around their granny. You don't want your granny to get this. That's the point. Or maybe you don't give a damn about your granny.
Adrian, the beauty of it is, or not the beauty, but the reality of it is not just grannies getting it anymore. Healthy, fit young men such as themselves can also be prone to pass away from this. It's, there's been 20-year-olds, fully fit young 20-year-olds who have died from this.
Okay, stay there for 1 second. I want to go to Sinead, who is on this line here. Sinead, welcome to 98 FM.
Hi, how are you?
Tell me, Sinead, what you witnessed yesterday.
First time out yesterday. I've been listening to this on the radio, for the last couple of days, and I thought, Jesus Christ, this is crazy. And within 1 minute of me being out yesterday, driving down the road, I saw 3 young girls from, let's say, a family in the area, walking down the road, and a man jogging. He actually jogged onto the road to, avoid them. And one of them went out of her way to cough in his face and laughed and walked down the road. And I thought, absolute imbeciles with no respect for anybody.
And the bit that I can't get my head around, and I understand we've a lot of imbeciles in our society, sadly, but where's the joke in this? How is this even vaguely funny? How did that man react?
He just kept running. Like I said, I was driving at the time, so they were in front of me as I was driving past, and I saw it, and he just kept running.
And these were young?
Oh, yeah. I'd say they were in their pyjamas, walking down the road at 6 o'clock at night, so I'd say there would have been about no more than 13.
No more than 13.
13, yeah.
Deliberately coughing, 3 girls walking down the road. Whereabouts was this?
Shankill.
In Shankill?
Yeah.
And specifically, what road in Shankill?
The Shangana Road.
Shangana Road,
Shankill Road. coming down towards Cromlock Fields, just before Cromlock Fields.
I know it well.
Yeah.
And these girls from around that area, they could be
close.
They could be from
Very
Cromlock
close.
Fields.
I know exactly where they're from.
Oh, right.
Say, anybody in the area know exactly where they're from.
And is it from Cromlock Fields?
No.
No.
In
okay.
between Cromlock Fields and Shankill, if you know what I mean.
Okay. These girls, 3 young ones, are walking around thinking it's funny to cough at people as they're out jogging.
Yeah. Minding their own business, getting out for their bit of exercise, probably stuck in the house, doing what they're supposed to be doing. And these 3 young ones are just absolutely taking the Michael out of the situation that's happening at the minute. Yeah.
Sinead, let me ask you, what do you think should be done to people who, they're being called virus pranksters, but there's no prank in this. What should be done here?
I think something serious. Because, you don't know. They could have it. They could pass it on. That man was out jogging. You don't know what that man, if they had it, or what that man, he could have caught something off them. What could happen to him? In 2 weeks, he could be dead. And a couple of weeks ago, I would have thought, well, that's a little bit extreme. But
it's not.
It's not.
No.
It's not. The whole world is shut down at the minute because of this. It's not a bloody cough and a cold.
No, it isn't. And as you probably heard at the start of the show, we spoke to a man whose mother is buried this morning after dying from this virus. So that's how serious this is. Yeah. Sinead, thank you for sharing that story with us. I'm horrified. If you've other examples of stuff that you've witnessed, call me right now on 6797 981. A quick break. We're back in a moment. We're talking about what should be done to people who threaten to spit at, actually spit at, or cough at anybody, but particularly those in our emergency services.
The sound of the city from Kilbarrack to Kiltiernan. Dublin Talks. 98 FM's Dublin Talks.
And this is Adrian Kennedy. We're here until midday today. You can also listen to the programme, by the way, every day on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Adrian K and Jeremy D. If that's an easier way for you to listen to the programme, that's where we are every day. Facebook.com/Adrian K and Jeremy D. If that's an easier way for you to listen to the programme, you can hear us every day on our Facebook page. Adrian, why are you surprised, says Dave in a WhatsApp message to me? Dublin had a serious problem with these type of little scumbags long before the COVID-19. This virus has just become another weapon in their arsenal. I am surprised, Dave, and I'll tell you why. I am surprised because I was of the belief that as a nation, and we've seen some amazing examples of how this country is pulling together to get through this. And then you have that little tiny percentage that just don't care about anybody, not even their own granny. Catherine, you're on 98 FM. Hiya, Catherine.
Hi, how are you? Good.
Catherine, you're angry over this as well.
I'm horrified. They are, you know what? It's scum breeding scum. The parents don't care. They need to fine the parents heavily. They need to take it out of their dole, because I can't believe that people who are educated would bring kids up that would allow them to spit at people and at our security and our frontline workers. It's beyond disgusting. I would also round up the little brats and put them into a boot camp somewhere. They just can't let them away with it. The Gardaí and the nurses doing such a great job in this crisis that we're having, that people are dying. I'm seeing them. I live in East Wall, and I've seen them, the gangs of teenagers, no, not spitting, but in gangs of them, all running up the road together, no idea about what's going on. The parents should make them sit down and watch, the TV and watch what Leo is telling us to do.
It seems like they don't care, but this is where the problem is, that the other day the government announced that you cannot congregate in groups of more than 4 people, and it comes down to the Gardaí then to break up groups of more than 4, and we've seen examples of how the Gardaí have tried to break up groups and have been threatened with being spat on. And
they need to give them a hose pipe with cold water. That'd work. Yeah, it's shocking.
A number of people have been on to us to say in America something like that is seen as a terrorist attack.
Oh, absolutely. We need to change the laws here. Our laws are abysmal here. They're going around, as one of your other people said on the radio there, this was a problem long before the COVID virus. You know, these kids are out of control. Halloween, you can't walk the streets. You know, certain times of the year, they're going around. It's like gang warfare with the kids. I guarantee you, if you find the parents, and any child under 18 that the parent is responsible, you either find the parent or the parent does jail time. They wouldn't be long taking their kids in off the street.
I'd like to think you're right, unfortunately.
I am right. Or take it out of their dole, you know, or fine them heavily.
So, in terms of, we're asking what should be done and what sort of new laws. Now, unfortunately, we're too late because the Dáil is meeting today to pass emergency legislation. This isn't part of that emergency legislation.
I know.
But a lot believe that it should be.
They just need to give the guards bigger powers. They just need to make some special sanctions and give them powers to arrest them, bring them up, fine the parents. They don't release the kids till the parents pay the fine. Guarantee the child won't be on the streets the following day. Guarantee it.
Okay, stay there for 1 second. I got a text in, or WhatsApp a couple of minutes ago, which I thought was very well written, from a lady called Anya. And it says, teenagers respond to cool, not to not cool. Show fear with this and you open the floodgates. What do you mean by that, Anya?
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for coming on every day. You're cheering us all up. Well done.
Although it's hard when we're having conversations like this. There's no cheer in this. But anyway.
So there's cheer to hear your voice, though. It's
thank you very much, Anya. Thank you.
So, first of all, I've worked with children from disadvantaged area through my church in Thomas Street. And they're amazing kids down there in Thomas Street. There isn't a chance they would spit at anybody. They are very good kids. The other thing to say is, I know we're tempted to call these teenagers and children scum, but they're not scum. They're kids. They're misguided. They've nobody.
Okay, let me read the message that you sent to me. Okay. Show fear with this and you open the floodgates. A national ad campaign saying the following is what we need. Are you mentally unhinged? Do you feel like spitting at people? If so, you need help, as you are clearly mentally diminished. And your point being that this will take the cool out of this.
Absolutely. You see, if you show any fear with these kids, they're just looking for attention. They've been thrown out of their houses. We do not know what's going on in their households. At the end of the day, they're children. They're acting the
sorry, the examples of spitting aren't just confined to children, I have to tell you.
Okay. That's just even worse. But what I'm saying is that if this gathers momentum, these kids think it's like the ice bucket challenge. Like they're that detached from the reality of life, of what life involves. They're sociopathic almost. Clearly being raised by sociopathic parents for whatever reason.
It sounds like you're almost making excuses for this behaviour.
No, I think the way to tackle the problem is to identify it, not run away from it.
And we are. By having this conversation today, we're identifying it. We know it's a problem.
But it needs a solution to lock it down, if you pardon the irony, because getting all this headgear and everything, these kids are going, we're getting loads of attention. They're getting headgear because of us. They're crazed individuals for whatever reason. What I'm saying is you take the cool out of it. Are you mentally diminished? Do you feel like spitting at someone? This is a crime against the state. You know, you're putting lives at risk. You know, basically calling them out to the fact that they're not right in the head.
Okay, and make them not cool. Anya, stay there for 1 second. Tricia, I know you've been hanging on a while. I'll take your call straight after the break if you can stay there. 6797 981 is our telephone number. Text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. What can or should be done to deal with these virus pranksters? And I use that in inverted commas because there's no prank in this at all. We'll take a quick break. We're back with more of your calls in just a moment. It's 11 o'clock across Dublin. Good morning. This is Adrian Kennedy. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. And this is Emma with Thursday's top headlines.
Thanks, Adrian. Good morning. Around 16,000 spit hoods have been ordered by Gardaí to be deployed during the COVID-19 crisis. It's to protect members of the force from being deliberately coughed and spat at while arresting suspects. While Gardaí are investigating an incident at Blanchardstown Hospital where a healthcare worker was deliberately spat at. Unemployment could rise to 18% by the end of June, according to new research. The study by the ESRI predicts the Irish labour market is set for one of the largest one-quarter shocks in living memory. There are concerns our health system may not be able to handle the number of critical virus cases. The European Centre for Disease Control says Ireland can cope with 5.6 critical patients in every 100,000, which is the lowest level in Europe. And a new RTE show, which will document how households are coping with the COVID-19 crisis, is receiving criticism. Operation COVID Nation is a spin-off of Operation Transformation and will see cameras installed into 4 participants' homes. However, it's been described as tone deaf and of cashing in on the crisis. And now you're up to date on 98.
98 FM's Dublin Talks. Call 6797 981.
If you want to get in contact with us about this conversation, you can call 6797 981 if you're calling from your mobile or outside Dublin. Stick an 01 in front of that. Or you can send us a text, a WhatsApp or a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. We're talking about, as you just heard in the news there, the fact that the Gardaí are to be issued with spit hoods, which will enable them to basically shove one of these things on top of somebody's head when they're threatening to spit or cough at a Garda. I'd never heard of a spit hood until today, but sure, there you go. That's the world we're living in right now. And we're asking what should be done in terms of punishment to somebody who threatens to spit or actually does spit at somebody. Darren sent me this WhatsApp voice note.
Hi guys, those kind of scumbags that go around like in the shopping centre, they're telling people they have the virus and all and scaring the life out of people. They should be literally locked up for a month like they are in quarantine. Teach them a lesson to say, well, here's how it'll feel for real. Lock them up for a month. No connection with family, friends, nothing. No mobiles, nothing. And they won't do it again.
All right, thank you very much indeed, Darren. And Gavin sent this message.
Adrian, I've seen these spit hoods being used in China. Why do they need 16,000? Why not? Like, if it's a very small minority, you're talking probably 30 or 40 children that would do something like that. But yet they ordered 16,000. But that sounds very totalitarian to me, like, you know what I mean? Like, we are citizens, like, and these powers that they're being given, is it only for the duration of the coronavirus, or after the coronavirus pandemic, are the powers lifted from what guards can and can't do?
Okay, thank you, Gavin. The fact of the matter is, these can only be used once. It's not like you can take it off one young fella and put it on another's head. Anya, a lot of people are annoyed at the comments that you've been making because you're bringing mental health into this, and there's no need to bring mental health into this conversation.
Oh, really? So people who are annoyed with this, are they mentally ill as well? How is it normal to threaten to spit on somebody? Like, how would somebody be annoyed about what I'm saying? Very strange. Are they the people who are thinking of going around spitting? Spitting is not normal. Let's forget about COVID. If my child went around spitting at someone, holy smoke, she wouldn't sit down for a week with the wooden spoon. Yeah. So how could you go around spitting at someone as a threat of violence? It's a threat of violence, is it not?
It is, absolutely. It's a threat of more than violence. It's a threat of against people's lives.
Yeah, I don't really care if people are annoyed. I care about our frontline staff who are in their jobs right now, fearful of somebody spitting on them. That's mental. You're mental.
Okay, all right, you made the point. Where am I going now? Trisha, you're on 98 FM. Hiya, Trisha.
Hiya, how's it going there?
Good, thank you, Trisha. Also really annoyed that there are some people in our society that will carry on like this.
Yeah, I've been listening to this for the last couple of days, and I wouldn't have even realised it was going on to an extent without your show, so thanks for highlighting that. My thing is that, now I haven't witnessed this to an extent, but I'm horrified of what the people are saying is going on with them. I actually think we need to bring in the army. The measures need to be...
I know, but you know, who would have thought 4 weeks ago that we would be having a conversation on the radio about spit hoods? I never even knew the things existed.
I didn't myself, and to tell you the truth, the people who say, oh my God, they're not humane and all the rest, I'm sorry, but if you behave in that manner, your civil liberties are out the door. For the majority of the people who are actually, doing what is actually being asked of them. And if you don't, then your civil liberties, I'm sorry, they're gone. That is my viewpoint.
Okay,
anyway.
so what would you like to see in terms of a charge for somebody who is arrested after spitting at or coughing at a Garda, for example?
Well, you see, because of the circumstances at the moment, they probably know, okay, courts can't go ahead. There's no place to put me. Like even what that person said, a boot camp for a month. Just something, name and shame, go after the parents. As I said, bring in the army. Because it's gotten to the stage where, we have to do a lot more for... Okay, it's only a minority, but that minority is scaring the hell out of people, is putting health workers at risk. Where you can't even go for a walk without the fear of something like that happening, like a loaded gun.
And that's exactly what it is. It's like a loaded gun. Because even though somebody might threaten to spit or might threaten to cough, and they probably think to themselves, well, I don't have this anyway, so... The fact is, you don't actually know whether you do or not.
But it's the fear of people who they even cough on, even if they don't have it. The fear that people then have to go through because they have been exposed to this.
Absolutely. All right, Tricia, thank you very much indeed. Elaine, you're on 98 FM. Hi, Elaine.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks, Elaine. It really is shocking that we're even having this conversation today, that people are going around and using coughing and spitting as some sort of a weapon against people. What did you want to say on this?
I totally agree with you. Absolutely, totally shocking. My opinion is the authority should be given to the guards to bring these into a cell and give them a good hiding with a wooden spoon if it has to be, like it was years ago. These are 14, 15-year-olds from what I can gather. What are these kids going to be like when they come to their 20s? It's shameful that they're going around and putting this fear into older society, older people, vulnerable people. You could have people with OCD, and if they do this to a person like that, it's living hell for them. So absolutely shocking what's going on, and I do think the guards should have the authority to give them a good hiding.
And just, okay, but I don't think we're going to go down that road, but much and all as loads of us would love that. I just want to clarify something that was mentioned a moment ago about the courts. The courts are sitting. And in fact, somebody just pointed out to us, a guy from the Netherlands was jailed for a month last week for threatening staff on an Aer Lingus flight. And the judge said, be aware, people, the courts are sitting for cases. So you would like to see... Is it somebody who does this being literally locked in a cell for 14 days?
Well, if you're an older, vulnerable person and you go in and do this to somebody in a supermarket or threaten them like that, what's that going? That's going to probably most likely keep that older person in fear of going out to get a carton of milk in a week or two time, in case they come across somebody else like this. I definitely do think that it's utterly disgraceful what they done, and I do think there should be a punishment for it. It's not fair. There's people putting themselves on the line for this COVID-19, and then you have little toe rags coming on and doing this to some people. It's absolutely disgraceful, and I do think they should be punished for it.
And I think we all agree with that, and I think we need to have an example that is the lead story on the 6-1 News of somebody being jailed for doing this. Like, for example, whoever it is who spat at the frontline worker in Blanchardstown Hospital, that person needs to be made an example of.
Absolutely, totally agree. I said it to my 15-year-old here this morning about what was going on the radio, and she was utterly shocked. And I can guarantee if it was my child that done that this morning, of the man that was talking, they wouldn't be able to sit down for a very long time. 15 or no 15-year-old.
All right, Elaine, thank you very much indeed. My God, the anger that I'm hearing from people is unbelievable with regard to this, and I don't blame you. I'm extremely angry over it myself, to think that we have people working in hospitals, people manning our streets, patrolling our streets, our Gardaí, and even our government ministers being spat at and coughed at and threatened with even being spat at and coughed at. And unfortunately, these emergency powers won't come in today because we already know the powers that are being brought in, but this should be brought in within the next week or two if this continues. It's not a prank by any stretch of the imagination. Angie, you're on 98 FM. Hi, Angie.
Hi, my blood is boiling here listening to Anya and her, treat it like it's cool attitude. It's not cool. Does she not realise that this is just... It's a carry on from everything. How many times during the year have you done about sports centres being broke up? How many times have buses been stopped going into estates because of little scroats that can't behave themselves? This is just to continue on of it. It's just because we're in a crisis now, it seems to be more highlighted. This goody nice attitude isn't working. It hasn't worked for the last 20 years. Something drastic needs to come out of this now, because people are just so sick of it. You think people aren't afraid enough with what's going on?
Yeah, they are. People are absolutely terrified.
But without this added to it, is it not scary enough at the moment without little scroats like that adding to it?
One of the things that baffles me is what should be done to these people.
Rounded up into a pen. That's what I made their parents, when their parents are then on Facebook, little whatever never came home last night. Does anybody know where he is? The minute he's got in touch with the guards, come down and collect him, because we want to have a serious chat. Either you're charged if he's under 18 or they're charged if he's older.
Okay, one of the things that lady Anya did say was that she says it wasn't. We need to let young people know that this actually isn't cool at all, lads.
Do you think they don't know that already? Do you not think that that's exactly what they know? Yeah, I mean, since when did throwing stones at buses and bricks at buses become cool? I mean, when did breaking up sports centres or gardens for ill children, when did that become cool? When did any of this become cool?
In the brains of imbeciles, it might appear to be cool or funny. In fact, one thing that it's been described
at some stage, Adrian.
Yeah, it's been described as a virus prank. It isn't a prank, of any sort.
It's not so thrown, but I mean, will it go down as antisocial behaviour? Because everything seems to be antisocial behaviour now, and nothing happens over it. I don't call bricking buses out of it where people are trying to get to and from work or shopping or that. I don't call that antisocial behaviour. I don't call it a prank. It's the too softy, like the likes of Anya. Treat them like it's cool. No, I'm sorry. Treat it like a bloody proper crime. Have proper consequences for it.
Absolutely, I agree with you. And I think because it's the main story in our news today of a worker in Blanchardstown Hospital being spat at by somebody who turned out to have COVID-19, that person with the COVID-19, obviously I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but that person needs to be made an example of.
Well, the whole lot of them, anybody that's caught doing it, not just that person, the whole lot needs to be. And this is the chance now for everybody to say, right, enough is enough. We have to take back some of these bloody streets from these little toe rags that walk it and think they own it. Because they're not afraid of the law. They're not afraid of the court system. They don't care, because everything is backed up against the victim with these little scrouts, and nothing happens to them.
Stay there for a second, because John, with the line of work that you do, this is nothing new.
No, Adrian, it's nothing new at all, buddy. I'm doing security 12 years. I worked in...
Oh, sorry, we lost you there, John. Are you there?
Yeah. Sorry, you there?
Yeah, go on, yeah.
Yeah, I had to get out of retail security for the same reason. I worked in Duns, I worked in Northside Shopping Centre, I worked in... Every day you were spitter.
Every day?
Every day. They used to put tissues and straws in McDonald's and blow them out the furniture. You'd walk around the chain, you'd be tissue on the back of your shirt. When you went into the canteen, the lads said, the back of your T-shirt.
So you're telling me that working in security in various supermarkets and shopping centres and whatever, you would be spat at every day?
Every day. It'd be a thing, go ahead, and be, you can't touch me, we know our law, hit me, I'd dare you, we've got it every day. Security guards deserve a lot more respect than what they're getting at this minute. And it's every day. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Sites now and
so when you hear us having this conversation, and I'm having this conversation from a point of view of being genuinely shocked that this sort of thing is going on, that the Gardaí have to be issued with spit hoods in order to put them over the heads of somebody who might want to spit or cough at them, I'm being a bit naive, am I?
Absolutely not. No, I wouldn't say naive, Adrian, because you have to be there. People don't believe you. I used to come home from work and be stressed, and we say, why? Because kids are spitting at me. It's a joke of it. People just laugh at you. Oh, God, it's kids spitting at you. Get over it. That's nothing.
Sorry, we're losing you again there, John. Are you not extra surprised that this sort of thing is going on during this national crisis that we're all living through?
I'd be surprised that because of what it's going through, it's not a thing that's not out there. We got it all the time.
Unbelievable. All right, let me bring in one last call, and that's you, Angela. You're on 98 FM. Hi, Angela.
Hi, Adrian.
Angela, you felt that lady Anya is making excuses for this type of behaviour.
Oh, absolutely. Like, what does she want us to do? Sit them down inside in a room with a psychologist or something? All they are is bald little, and I'm going to say it, shits. I'm sorry for swearing on the radio. They're just little shits, and what we should do is set up camps in the Curragh, down the Hinge, everywhere all the barracks are, and any of them caught, there should be a legislation brought in now that you are gone straight down. And there was something on Special K on that inside the K last night that proved it. That 10-year-old, right? Okay, it wasn't at night time because I think it was around Christmas, but he was brought home after doing whatever he did with the iron bar and the shop, and the mother said, "That's you in for the night." In for the night? In for the night? I've been locked up for 2 months. We have to start clamping down on these little, I can't even use the language that I want to. How dare they? If that was an older person with HIV or anything that is spreading around the HIV virus, they'd be locked up. This is what they're doing. I don't care what age they are or how funny they think it is. Let's see if they think it's funny if they're locked up in the Curragh with the army on their backs. That's what needs to be done. They need to be brought in now. And I think what should be brought in is any teenagers, 4 or more, you're gone. Good luck. Into the back of the van, bring them up to the Curragh, and let's see them run through muck. Let's see them have hell over this.
Yeah, unfortunately, again, Angela, we need emergency legislation to make that happen, and there are no plans at this moment to bring in such emergency legislation to allow the Gardaí to round up people, throw them in the back of vans, bring them down to the Curragh and make them work in a work camp. We just don't. It's not on the plans at this moment.
You know what it's going to take is, and I really hope it doesn't happen, but Simon Harris said he was spat at the other day.
He was coughed at, yeah.
He was coughed at. If he developed...
They weren't teenagers, by the way.
No, they weren't. But you know what? Everyone like that should be locked up because that is what they are doing. It's not funny anymore. It really isn't. And I think it's going to take a lockdown on everything to do it. And anyone outside, especially... I've heard Mary Lou the other day saying, it's, teenagers, like you can't blame them. Yeah, you can. Yes, you can blame them because if they're going around doing this to people, they need to be locked up. There's nothing mental wrong with them. That Anya one saying, that there's something mentally wrong in their heads. They're mentally disabled. No, they're not. They're just scurriers and scum.
Angela, thanks very much indeed for your call. And thank you very much indeed, all of you, for your calls. You're listening to 98 FM's Dublin Talks. It's a conversation I never thought we'd ever have on the radio, to be quite honest with you. But anyways, that's the times that we are sadly living in and the people that are living amongst us. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks.
The sound of the city from Donamead to Drimna. Dublin Talks. 98 FM's Dublin Talks.
It's Thursday morning. This is Adrian Kennedy. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. Now, let's change the tone for a little while on the programme if we can. Because apparently with families now spending more and more time together than ever before, the sales of board games are on the increase. Some toy stores are reporting sales of good old-fashioned board games up 150%, which is unbelievable, as families return to doing traditional things to keep themselves occupied during the current crisis that we're all living through, during isolation, during being stuck at home. But what is the go-to board game in your house? That's what I want to find out. What board game has been keeping your family amused? I'd like to hear from you on 6797981. You can text, you can WhatsApp, you can send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. We've all found different ways of entertaining ourselves, and you can get bored with Netflix, you can get bored with, I've been watching Friends on Comedy Central, but you get bored with that. And isn't it nice to go back to playing a good old-fashioned board game? I'd like to know what game is keeping you entertained at home in your house during this isolation. Call me right now on 6797981. You can text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. There is a list of some of the most popular board games, and I wonder, can you guess what is number one on the that people voted for as the most popular board game? Now, it is a board game that I love. Haven't played it for quite some time, and I think I'm going to dig it out at the weekend. I think we have a fairly intact set of it at home, so I'm going to dig it out at the weekend, and I love the game. Can you guess what it is? The most popular board game here in Ireland that people voted for only in the last couple of days. Call me now on 67979 981. Text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. Tell me what board game is keeping you occupied at home. Maybe it's something you just went out and bought yesterday and you're having great fun with it. Our Jeremy, whilst in the building, is socially distanced from me, so I have him on the phone to keep him away from me. Even though he is in work every day.
Yes, I am. And even when this is all over, I believe we're still going to socially distance, aren't we, for the rest of our careers?
That would suit me, yeah.
It would suit me too. Can I tell you, first of all, off the bat, in my house, we're big into board games. It wasn't just the coronavirus that brought it on. We do a board game night once a week. Can I tell you, first of all, the one board game that doesn't get played in our house, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, Monopoly. Isn't it the worst board game?
No, absolutely not. No.
You think you know somebody? I thought I knew you.
The
Monopoly.
Best.
Oh, no.
The number one board game is, in my opinion, Monopoly. It has to be, because okay, it's a game that actually involves a little bit of skill. It involves some lively discussion and debate amongst the players, and it can last forever.
That's my problem with Monopoly. There's no time limit on it.
I know, but at this time where a lot of us are bored out of our trees, it's a great game. It can last for hours.
It goes on too long. I like a game that lasts for 20 minutes. Okay, Monopoly can go on for 4 hours. Way too long. My favourite board game. Well, I love an old-fashioned game of Snakes and Ladders as well. We have a game of Snakes and Ladders on the coffee table in the living room that we'll throw out often, and it's great fun. But my go-to board game, and it's actually made a comeback. There was loads of them on the shelves a couple of weeks ago when we went in to buy it. And the reason this board game is ideal for you and your kids, if you're stuck in the house at the moment, is because any age can play it. Okay, I'm not going to tell you the name of the game, but here's the way you play it, Adrian. Mm-hmm. So you have sticks in a bowl, and you have to gently pull the sticks out of the bowl and make sure that the balls in the bowl don't fall down to the end.
Sticks in a bowl, and the ball can't fall to the end.
I haven't sold this very well. Sure, I haven't. It doesn't sound like a very...
It sounds
exciting...
tedious.
It's kerplunk. Do you know kerplunk?
Kerplunk. Oh, yeah. But I definitely wouldn't have described it that way, but yeah, I get you. Yeah, kerplunk.
We actually, it was last Christmas, my young fella Luke saw an ad on the telly for us, and I didn't realise the game was still around. And he saw an ad on the telly for us, and he asked Santa Claus to bring him kerplunk, and he did bring it to him. And he is literally addicted to that game. Well, we all are addicted to that game because it's so bloody simple. It's literally where you pull out the straws, and you have to make sure that the balls don't fall down the end. And you know what? The game lasts for 15 minutes, which is grand. 15 minutes, job done, game is over. Happy days.
Okay, I'd like to find out from our listeners whether or not you've ended up having rows over games, because Monopoly, it does have a bit of a reputation to end in killings. It does. And I've played many a game where you end up storming off, you don't even know how to play this game.
No, that's sorry, but that is the problem with Monopoly. There's about 1 million, nobody knows the proper rules to Monopoly, and nobody knows how many hotels you can build on Kimmage Road. Like, who cares? And that's the problem with Monopoly, is that any game where you don't know the rules is going to end up in a row, because, Adrian, you shouldn't have put 4 hotels on O'Connell Street. You're not allowed to build 4 hotels on O'Connell Street. That's why Monopoly is crap, because it's like that other game. What's the game?
You're only allowed to put 1 hotel after you've built 4 houses.
Yeah, well, you see, I didn't even know that, so there you go. What's that other crap game about Adrian was killed in the study by a shotgun? What's that game?
Cluedo.
Oh, should be banned.
No, great game.
No. Ban Cluedo.
Oh, there's no point in you popping around to our house, although you're not welcome anyway at this moment. In fact, you're not welcome anytime, but no, I'm only joking. Okay, so Cluedo, I love Cluedo, and in fact, it is in the top most popular board games.
Well, we obviously all just have different tastes, and so if anybody wants to play Kerplunk, come to my house, and if you want to play a game of Monopoly that's going to go on for 62 hours, then go to Adrian's house.
Okay, thank you. That's our Jeremy. I'd like to hear from you on 6797 981. You can text, WhatsApp, or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. What games are you playing during this time of isolation? Because you can't just watch the telly all day, every day. It becomes really, really tedious. So what way are you entertaining yourself with board games in particular? Alana sent me this WhatsApp voice note.
Hi, my name is Alana, and the board game we play to keep ourselves occupied is Monopoly.
You see, Monopoly, Alana, is just a great game. And I do agree with one point Jeremy made a moment ago, which was that everybody plays by different rules. I think that's part of the problem with Monopoly, that it's actually quite a complicated game, and loads of people, if you come in from a different family, you could be playing by completely different rules, and it ends up in absolute killings. Jason, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Jason?
How you going?
Jason, what games are you playing?
Play Pokemon Monopoly, Risk, and Catan.
Sorry, hang on. Monopoly? What'd you say? Pokemon Monopoly?
Pokemon Monopoly, yeah.
Oh, right.
Pokemon Monopoly set.
Oh, right, okay. So I assume it's similar to Monopoly. It's just with Pokemon characters and all that.
Exact same way, like exact same rules and all the way it's out. And like, I know with all the rules are always changing, but like the board comes with a rule set, like so we just follow the rules on the board.
With Monopoly, you mean?
Yeah.
I know, but if you read through the actual rules, they're very complicated about mortgaging properties, and it really does go on a little bit. Now, I have my own rules in my head. I don't actually know if I'm playing the game right, but it is...
An accountant really is to do with Monopoly.
So you said Pokemon Monopoly. What were the other ones?
And Catan.
Catan?
Yeah, it's like a settlers game, like, so you get wood. It's all about cards. They need to build a road to get the fortified towns.
Right.
Build roads and whoever gets the most roads and builds the fort wins the game.
And so, what's it called again?
Catan.
C-A-T-A-N or K-A?
C-A-T-A-N.
I've never heard of it. Hang on, I'll have to Google that now while you're on to me.
I was thinking about getting Ludo. I love Ludo.
Ludo's a good L game. Yeah.
And I have a draft set at home as well. I have to dig it out. The lad likes chess, but not really a chess fan. I like playing draft instead.
Oh, I'm looking at a game of Catan. I'd never even heard that before.
It's a good game.
Is it a good game?
Yeah. Yeah, it's good for kids as well. The kids love it as well. Like so.
Okay, well, now you've just educated me. Catan board game, it's available online. Here's what one reviewer says. Definitely one of my favourite board games. It's challenging to learn at first, but it's worth the struggle. It requires strategy, as there are different ways to win. Sounds very good.
My lad is only 11 years of age and he whooped me in it. I got whooped.
All right, very good. Thanks very much, Jason.
Bye.
We were asking you, what are your favourite board games to play at home or during this isolation period? Maybe you're playing them more than you ever have before. I mean, what else have you got to do? Call me now on 6797981. Here's a WhatsApp voice note from Katie and Jack.
Hi, we're Katie and Jack, and our favourite game is Frustration. Frustration.
Oh, Frustration. What a great game. Isn't it? Just such a brilliant game. Thank you, Katie and Jack. Kate, you're on 98 FM. Hiya, Kate.
Hiya, how are you?
Now, the game that you play, well, is it a board game per se? No, probably not. Really? But it's a great way to entertain yourself, which is?
Yeah. Uno, the card game. I first actually believe it. Here's a story for you, Kate. My granny, when I was a young fella, brought us to America on a holiday. Okay, and we were one of the first people, I think, in Ireland to have a pack of Uno cards, and because we brought them home from America, they weren't even for sale here at the time, and I absolutely love Uno. Brilliant.
Isn't it?
I only started playing it the other day. We bought it actually a couple of weeks ago. My oldest daughter was saying, it was a great game. So we bought it. So obviously last week we were absolutely bored stupid. So we took it out and we're playing it every night now. There's, it's very competitive.
It is very competitive, yeah.
My husband is still trying to win and he ends up last out of 5 of us.
Really?
Yeah.
And I have to say, it can get a bit nasty as well, because you reverse and then you pick up 4 and change the colour and all of it. It actually can get very. Why did you give me a draw 4? It's not fair.
Yeah. No, it's a little bit harder at the minute because we're playing with a 9-year-old and a 10-year-old and a 9-year-old, and.
They think you're being really unfair to them.
Well, it's either a temper tantrum off them or we'll just kind of hold on to it and pass it on to one of the adults. But, I mean, it's great crack. I have to say now, it's great crack. There's a couple of more board games now to knock out over the next couple of days.
Okay, how are you on Monopoly? Playing Monopoly with a 9-year-old, I think, would be fun.
Well, we bought now a good few months ago, and it's never been open. It's Monopoly Cheaters Edition. It was the only one we could get at the time.
Cheaters Edition?
Cheaters Edition. Now, I don't even know how you play it or what have you, but we're going to open that tonight because it's my boy's birthday, so that's why he's chosen to play tonight. So it'll be interesting because.
So, hang on, you're educating me again. I'm loving this today. The Monopoly Cheaters Edition makes this wildly different Monopoly game a favourite go-to game for game nights and other fun get-togethers. But you don't know what the idea is.
Haven't a clue.
Here's what it says, right? You play as normal, but there are bonuses for completing specific cheats at certain times without anyone noticing.
That'd be right down my street.
That sounds deadly. And in fact, somebody just texted in to say Monopoly Cheaters is hilarious. That sounds really, really... That sounds brilliant, actually. I might get one of them on the way home.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it now.
Hang on. It says on the box, Monopoly Cheaters Edition, what can you get away with? Get caught and you get cuffed. So, right, I'm definitely going to get my hands on that. That sounds brilliant. Monopoly Cheaters Edition. Okay, I'll look out for that.
Brilliant.
Oh, apparently the bank ends up empty in the... So what are you doing, robbing money from the bank? That all sounds brilliant. Right, I'm going to get that on the way home today. Thanks, Kate.
All right, see you then. Bye-bye.
Keep your calls coming in on 6797981. If there is a board game that you think we need to start playing, like Monopoly Cheaters Edition, which I didn't know was a thing, and we're not talking about PlayStation 4 the best game that you have on that. We're talking about good old-fashioned board games. What games are you playing? What should we know about? Is there a new game that you've come across that you think we should give a try to? Call us right now on 6797 981. Text, WhatsApp or a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. Joe, you come up with a brilliant idea, which was?
I looked up Amazon and I got joint board games for the garden.
Ooh.
Jenga, dominoes, drafts.
Now, what size? I love Jenga, I have to say. I've always loved Jenga. How big is the Jenga set for the back garden?
When you have it done, it works out about 2 foot high.
Oh, right, okay, so it's big enough, yeah.
Yeah, and the kids love them.
And what
other? Yeah, it's brilliant.
What other games have you got?
There's snakes and ladders. There's
a big, huge snakes and ladders.
Yes.
Oh, right, okay. Now that's all well and good when we have the weather that we're currently having, but you can't play them in the lashings of rain, can you?
We were actually playing dominoes in the house last night, joint dominoes.
Were you? So, how tall are the domino pieces?
They're about 8 inches by 4 inches each piece.
And what are you doing? Setting them up around the house, or?
We're just playing the game, sitting on the floor.
Very good.
It's brilliant.
Excellent. Well, I'm being told that the giant Jenga is 90 quid or something like that. Would that be right?
No.
Much
They're cheaper than that. I think it was 30 quid I paid for it.
Oh, that's all right, yeah.
And they have Giant Connect 4. They have everything. It's brilliant.
Okay, I'm going to look at giant.
It's just different.
Giant games, yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
All right, fair play, Joe. Keep your calls coming in. We want to spread the good news about board games and games that you are playing that are very entertaining and that the rest of us should jump on board. We'll take a quick break and we'll take more of your calls in just a moment.
The sound of the city from Perrystown to Portmarnock. Dublin Talks. 98 FM's Dublin Talks.
Coming up in just a moment, we have Good News Thursday. We do it every day now to try and spread some good news. If you have something good from your world that you'd like to share with us, call us now on 6797 981. You can also text, WhatsApp or send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. Share with us, please, your good news. Here is a WhatsApp voice note about board games. Sorry, we'll just take another couple of calls on board games. And this is Adrian.
The best board games are Articulate and Pictionary. So much fun. And you can play Pictionary over Zoom or Hangouts with your friends. It's really good crack.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. And Johnny, you don't want anyone bad-mouthing Monopoly?
No, because, I don't know where Jerry must be been in the cloud or something somewhere, because, Monopoly is a great pastime, and there's money involved for the start, yeah? And you have, a hotel and 4 houses, someone lands on your property, you're paying them rent. I wish it was that simple now. We're buying a house now, but that's not like here and there.
Okay, you love Monopoly.
Look, I had Adrian. I bought a Dublin edition in Clary's when it was open years ago. I took it out last night for 2 of my mates, and we were playing it, and somebody nicked it.
Oh. All right, so Monopoly is your number one game. And by the way, there was a poll online about your favourite games. Here is the top 5 as voted by people. I think this was on the Journal website, if I'm not mistaken. Number 1, Monopoly. Number 2, Cluedo. Number 3, Trivial Pursuit. Actually, I haven't played Trivial Pursuit in years. Oh, I'm going to have a go at that. Number 4... but you need to be good at spelling for this one, Scrabble. And number 5, another game I haven't played in donkey's years, Mousetrap. I used to love that game. So they are the most popular games in Ireland. Let's finish off with a WhatsApp voice note from Dakota.
Hey, Adrian, we're playing... I'm Dakota. We're playing 5 second rules, and headbands.
Oh, very good, Dakota. Thank you very much indeed. And thank you, all of you, for sharing all of them with us. I am going to get myself if I can, somewhere on the way home today, Monopoly Cheaters Edition, because it actually sounds great fun. It really does. You're listening to 98 FM's Dublin Talks. This is Adrian Kennedy, and let's wrap up the programme with good news every day. Now, good news every day. Well, if you're a regular listener to the programme, you will know that every Friday we bring you Good News Friday. But because of the current crisis we're going through, and because of all the bad news circulating around this world, we decided that we were going to do Good News Friday every day. And we're calling it Good News Every Day. And this is where we're asking you to share with us some little small inkling of good news from your world. Something that has happened to you, something that is happening to you, that you can only class as good news, despite all the bad news and negative news circulating around us as we speak. So what we want you to do is send us a WhatsApp voice note right now to 0877 98 98 98 and share with us your good news. Now, that good news story can be just the tiniest little thing. But maybe it's a job that you've been putting off for years, but because you're at home now, you finally got it done. Whatever your good news is, call us right now on 6797 981, or you can send a WhatsApp voice note with your bit of good news to 0877 98 98 98. It's time for Good News Every Day on 98 FM. Bum, 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 bum. Sandra, you're on 98 FM. Hiya, Sandra.
Hi.
Sandra, what is your good news?
My son Christopher is 13 today.
Aha! He's a teenager at long last. Or is it at long last?
At long last, yeah.
13, a teenager. How's he feeling about being a teenager?
He's happy enough, delighted with his presents. A bit disappointed that he can't get out and
celebrate and meet his mates and all that, yeah?
Yeah, but sure, we'll have fun at home.
Come here, what was his present?
He got a hoverboard.
Oh, very nice. Has he ever used one before?
I think he's had a shot of one of his friends once, that's it, but he's quite good on it already.
Oh, well, that's all right, because I've tried one a couple of times, and how I'm still here actually is a mystery, because I just wasn't, I couldn't master it at all. Just couldn't balance on the bloody thing. But
I don't think I'd be getting on it at all.
No. What's his name?
Christopher.
So Christopher is a teenager today. He's 13. That is good news, Sandra, isn't it? How does it feel to have a 13-year-old?
Well, we have an older daughter, but the 13-year-old boy now was a bit of a shock.
He was a bit of a shock?
No, just having another.
Oh,
teenager.
right, another, yeah.
Before being 13, but now my baby is 13, so yeah, it's a bit of a shock.
It is, yeah. All right, well, congratulations on having a 13-year-old. Christopher, happy birthday, Christopher, and be safe on that hoverboard, okay?
We will. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Sandra.
Thank you.
Now, our telephone number is 6797 981. You can send us a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. I would like to hear from you about your good news. Whatever your good news is, share it with us right now on 6797 981, or send a WhatsApp voice note. My good news is, since I've been working from home the past 2 weeks, I've not needed to put any makeup on, and my skin is now like it's brand new. Actually, I wonder, is there any other women like that? I assume this is from a woman. Maybe that's incorrect. It is from a woman. My good news is, since I've been working from home the past 2 weeks, I've not needed to put any makeup on, and my skin is now like brand new. Is anybody else like that? That you're actually not putting makeup on? And in fact, tomorrow on the programme, I want to talk about how you're going to cope as a woman or a man without being able to get your nails done, without being able to get your hair done, I desperately need a haircut, but I'm just going to let the hair grow and see what happens. All of those things we'll talk about on the programme tomorrow. Anyway, keep your good news coming in. 0877 98 98 98 is our WhatsApp voice note number, and this is from Leah.
Hi, my name's Leah, and my good news today is that I'm making Kinder Bueno cheesecake with my mum.
Oh, Kinder Bueno cheesecake. Leah, only for it's not allowed at the moment. I'd pop around. That sounds delicious. That sounds gorgeous. Stephen, you're on 98 FM. Hi, Stephen.
Hello, how are you doing?
Stephen, what is your good news?
No, I was just saying that when I rang the folks, I have a car in my front garden, right? And it's in very, very good condition. It's very well looked after. It's an 04 car, and the mechanic even said to me, except the year, it'd be worth about $4,000. Now, I don't want to sell it. I'm not selling it. But if there's someone on the front line or someone that needs transport to club together to get in and out of whatever they're doing, someone can have the car if it's a genuine case that takes the car.
What a very decent offer, Stephen. So tell me about the car. What sort of a car is it again?
It's an Renault Megane 04.
An 04 Megane. Yeah, they're not a bad old car. Still working perfectly.
It's in. I'll tell you now. It was in the underground car park for 2 years. I bought it through mechanics that took it out of the place. It was a reputable garage in Bray. They redone it. They put a new timing belt in it, a new water pump about 3 years ago. A new clutch went into it a year and a half ago. A new accelerator pedal went in. The brakes have been done. There's new tyres on it, on the back and one on the front. It starts. I've been using it myself going up and down the garden just to keep it running and making sure everything was okay with it.
And you are prepared to donate that car to one of our frontline workers who may need it for getting in and out of work, or may not want to take public transport anymore, or whatever.
Yeah, if it's a genuine person, like anyone can say, I'll take it, but if it's a genuine person for whoever wants it, they can just come and I'll give them the card, the 2 keys, everything. The logbook and the whole lot's there.
And you're just giving it to somebody who might need it, who is providing frontline services here.
Yeah. But I wouldn't care what they're doing on it. They can have the car. No matter what they're doing on the front line, they can have the car, and they can drive it away straight away. There's not a bother with the car.
Okay, that is a brilliant offer, Stephen. If anybody would like to avail of that offer, somebody who's working as a frontline worker who could do with a car to make it easier for you to get in and out of work, give us a call on 6797 981 and we will put you directly in touch with Stephen. Stephen, fair play to you. That's a very decent offer, and hopefully somebody will take you up on it. And
I'm not going to sell it now because the way things have gone with people, I'm not going to be able to buy it. And I'd just rather give it to someone that can really make use of it now at this stage.
Fair play, Stephen.
It's a genuinely good car, and I honestly mean that.
All right, that is really good news. And if anybody wants to avail of that, call us on 6797 981 and we'll put you in touch with each other. Stephen, thanks very much indeed.
No problem. Thanks you.
Thanks. Isn't that nice? That's really nice. Here is some good news from Zona.
Hey, my name is Zona, and my good news is I'm getting a cast off after 6 weeks from breaking my wrist. I fell off my horse. So I'm super excited, and can you say hello to my husband who's working very hard with the Defence Forces.
You're working very hard in the Defence Forces. Thanks very much indeed, Zona. That's a lovely message. No. What does this mean? I recently met my ex's new partner. Good news for me, because I no longer have to deal with them. Not sure what that really means. But it says it's good news. #winning. I really, really, really don't know what that message is about. But anyway, each to their own and all of that. Please give a big shout out to my hubby Sam, the busman. He started the decking last summer. And let's just get my head around this. He started the decking last summer and has finally finished it. Aha, I get you. Finally, he got his decking finished. See, we're actually getting I'm getting loads of work done as well. Paolo sent me this message.
Hello, how are you all? This is Paolo from Italy, and my good news today is that I'm a doctor, sorry. I just want to tell you that today I received less calls than yesterday and no new cases of COVID-19, and this is great news. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
I assume that's exactly where you live, Paolo. That's fantastic news. It really is. And he is in Italy. All right, there you go. That's all your good news. We've a load more, but I just don't have time, unfortunately. Thank you very much indeed for sharing them with us. And as normal on a Friday, we will bring you Good News Friday tomorrow, right here at 98 FM's Dublin Talks. Now, before I go, if there's anything you want to bring up on tomorrow's programme, something you think we need to be discussing, send us an email to dublintalks@98fm.com, dublintalks@98fm.com, or send us a private message through facebook.com/Adrian K and Jeremy D. Have a good Thursday. I'll talk to you tomorrow morning at 10. Barry Dunn is next with some great music lined up in the next hour, like these.
Sound of the city, from Furhouse to Finglas. Dublin Talks. 98 FM's Dublin Talks.